Welcome to The Vibrant Couple. I have invited again my friend Monique to introduce relationship tools. Today we are exploring Give Me A, and then you give a number between 1 to 5 as a wonderful tool to get unstuck when your partner is reactive. And so, briefly, Monique, tell us about who you are, what you do.
Thank you. I absolutely love coaching and facilitating for individuals, couples, and families, and helping them champion courageous conversations. I also do that in organizational settings.
Wonderful. And for the record, I just work with couples. And of course, singles who want to be in a couple. How about we lay out some of our principles?
Yeah, our first principle is the grass isn't greener on the other side, unlike the phrase that we often hear. The grass is greener where you water it, where you put your attention.
Second principle is secure attachment is forged, is created, is practiced.
hmm And our third, and maybe even our favorite principle, is make it playful, have fun.
You know, I could not contradict you. I named my business Happy Couples Play Together for, for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we can do serious topics with lots of levity and play. It actually helps us learn better and create more connection.
So our first tool was take 1, 2, 3. Today is give me a. And very interestingly, it is the same tool. So in take 1, 2, 3, it is when I noticed I screwed up, I offer my partner a take two, then a take three, and then possibly more takes, depending on how quickly I'm able to correct whatever insensitive or I said, and however quickly my partner warms up. So in this case, this is a tool when I notice that my partner screwed up, my partner was insensitive, my partner was not paying attention, my partner was reactive. We just gave you a brief introduction of the game. We are going to share expected benefits as well as detailed steps to play the game. Monique and I will then do 3 role plays ending with celebration of our efforts and progress. We will close with our typical Q&A. Monique, please give us a few hints about the expected benefits of Give Me A.
One of the benefits from doing this is that we often don't even realize our own level of reactivity. So this lets you from the outside of your reactive partner kind of give them a mirror to see kind of what's happening over there. And because you're doing it as a game, it increases playfulness. So it invites them to take a step back and play like a dial with their own reactivity instead of getting caught up in it. And of course, playfulness and low reactivity are the best ingredients of reconnection. If you stop in the middle of a conversation and try to process it, like what's going on and all that, it actually can kind of bog things down. It can be, really draining. So instead, turn it up, turn it down, or give me a four, give me a two. We're going from the numbers 1 to 5 here, right? That just lets you do it without the actual processing and just more the practicing, which really integrates it into a great skill that you have as a couple.
And now, let's review the detailed steps of the game. Step 1, your partner says something with high reactivity. My hunch is that you have plenty of experience with that, and I don't need to give you examples. Step 2, you resist the urge to fight back. This is almost the most important part of the game because we typically get upset when our partner is reactive. And that's totally normal in a couple. And this is where here the game can enable us to learn to fight better with each other. So resisting is critical because otherwise it's going to escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate. So it takes only one to basically resist that urge and have lower reactivity. Step 3, you quantify your partner's reactivity. That may sound very counterintuitive, but it is really important. Typically, when we process, we would tell our partner, hey, darling, you are reactive right now. And you can imagine that using words at a time when they're pissed off is only going to increase their reactivity. So in here it says, hey, darling, that was a 3, or hey, darling, that was a 5, is a much easier way to basically receive that feedback. You then immediately ask them to give you A and you choose a number from 1 to 5. The immediacy is really important because you gave them feedback about something that is typically very upsetting, which is their reactivity. Instead, you basically give the command, which is the masculine direction, to get the river flowing of their stuck reactivity. Step 5 is the actual give me A. At this point, you pay really close attention to your partner and their nonverbal and facial expressions. And you basically have to trust that they are giving you their best shot. Step 6, you quantify their reactivity. Step 7, you immediately ask your partner to give you A. Again, you choose a number from 1 to 5. And then you repeat the game as necessary. So how about we do a few examples in
Yeah,
which
let's role play.
some in which we go up and some in which we go down.
That sounds great.
This is the scenario we are recommending to beginners. I am going up twice to clearly signify to Monique that I am fully noticing her reactivity and that I'm inviting her to play with me. I then go down, down, and down.
Although it seemed like you only had eyes for that Barbie looking lady tonight.
Monique, I want to play Give Me A with you on this. It was a 3. How about you give me a 5?
You spent practically the whole night obsessing about that beautiful woman and barely even paid attention to me.
So, Monique, I agree she was beautiful, but that's just a 4. Give me a real 5. Go for it.
You never pay attention to me.
So, Monique, how about you give me a 2?
I felt like you were really distracted and weren't really paying attention to me.
That is correct. Would you give me a 1?
Seemed like you paid a lot of attention to that Barbie gal over there.
So, Monique, that seems like a 3. In a 1, I would expecting you to talk about what you longed for and not necessarily talk about that blonde woman that I spent time with during the party.
Oh, yeah, thank you for that reminder. You know, I just really wanted to have your love and attention at the party.
Yeah. Monique, I'm really pissed. I came from work and noticed that the dishes were in the sink and you left out to your girls' night out without any consideration to me.
Well, let's play Give Me A and make that a 5.
I'm pissed. Am I your maid or what? Every time you go on girls' night out, you don't let me know you're out. You leave the dishes in the sink. I feel insulted.
Okay, give me a 2.
Monique, I fully support you going out with your girlfriends. I think it's wonderful. But please let me know, me coming home and finding the dishes in the sink, feels bad.
I'm glad we're playing this game. Try giving me a 1.
I fully support you going out with your girlfriends. I have a deep need for consideration. I'm totally comfortable doing the dishes and actually enjoying and supporting you going out. what I would love next time is just for you to send me a quick text. And maybe you should take a picture and you send it to me so I know that the dishes are in the sink, and I know that, on my drive home, I'm just going to prepare myself for that. And so I can do the dishes and then I'll have a beer later.
I'm glad that we're playing this game because your suggestion of me taking a picture of the mess that I leave behind also reminds me to just take a moment and appreciate what you're doing to support me having my time with my friends. So I love that suggestion. Thank you.
Wonderful. This scenario requires a lot of trust, so your partner knows you are really paying attention to them and to their reactivity, and not just trying to calm them down because you don't want to be bothered right now about what is going on for them.
Valdo, I'm just so pissed at your mother. She always gets between us. It's like she's so self-centered.
My love, I so love when you're passionate about that because it tells me how committed you are to maintaining our connection in challenging situations. And so that was a 4 in our Give Me 1 to 5 game. How about we go directly to a 1?
I I appreciate and love how you love your mom and how we support her with our relationship and your mom was just more difficult than usual this time, and I just noticed that yeah, it was harder than usual.
Feels good to be partners with this challenging mom I have.
You've probably noticed as you watch Valdo and I role play that we just almost naturally appreciate each other at the end when we've gotten to connection, and that will probably happen with you too. But if it doesn't, we're just encouraging to make sure, even if it ends a little bit tense, you don't quite get to connection, just take a moment to say, I appreciate that we're working on this. I appreciate that we're playing these games. I appreciate you for working on connection with me. And now we're going to do some popular questions and answers about this tool.
How is Give Me A different from Take 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're really sort of the inverse of each other. So in take 1, 2, 3, I have screwed up either because I realized it myself or somebody's pointed out to me. And in Give Me A, what we're doing is calling out when our partner has made a mistake or something we perceive as a mistake. Another question we often get is, does this make this game trickier than take 1, 2, 3?
It is definitely trickier. And so, take 1, 2, 3. We've all played some version of it where we somehow apologized and tried again. Sometimes because we were forced, sometimes it was at work, but we've all played some variation.
Could this game increase my partner's reactivity? And what if they're not willing to reduce their reactivity?
So, good call. It could definitely increase the reactivity. In most couples, when we are upset, we want to be seen and heard for our upset. And so, in this case, playing the game can't trump the reactivity because somehow it signifies to our partner that we are noticing them. We know they're really upset. So, sometimes it can backfire and we need to pay attention to it. And sometimes our partner is too reactive. There is something they're too, entrenched in whatever is going on for them and they cannot let it go. And so in that case, we basically acknowledge where they're at. We thank them for how typically they're so available and this time is not. And maybe we can take the time off and reconnect in 20 minutes or tomorrow. Next question. How do you decide when you go up and when you go down in numbers in your invitations to your partner?
That's a great question. So, fundamental to this exercise is understanding that all behavior is driven by an unmet need. right? Or striving to meet a need. And so you have them dial it up because you want them to connect that need. You're listening and showing that you're tending to the need beneath the behavior. And so once they feel understood, once you have a sense of what the needs are, when you dial it down, it kind of leads them to those needs. And that's how that dial at the one comes out so beautifully. It's really much more connected in a conscious way to their needs.
So I want to ask a follow up on that.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'm gaining awareness of my needs, but I'm still effing reactive. Is that also a something to pay attention in going up or down?
Yeah, you'll as each couple you'll get a sense of this. You're when you don't want to get them so far into reactivity that they're no longer playing the game, right? But you do want to be playful that they could take it up a notch. So yeah, it's as they get louder, they'll start to just almost intuitively tune into what's really upsetting them.
Hmm. So basically, don't push your partner too hard,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and also acknowledging their reactivity. So earlier when we were playing and you were telling me about that blonde woman I was talking, I sensed that I could have engaged with you onto your needs, but there is something you are still too upset to go there. That's when I went up and invited you even more up before going down.
Mhm. So you said that quantifying the reactivity is not necessary if you play this game often. Would you explain why that's so?
Quantifying the reactivity is, of course, one of the steps of the game and is really important because it enables us to acknowledge our partner's reactivity. You know how we want to be seen and heard. When we're upset, we want the other one to know we're upset. When we're jealous, we want the other to know that we are jealous. So, in a couple that plays that game often and who has learned to somehow better fight, they know it was not about that blonde that he was talking with because she could have been a prospect, she could this, she could that, you know. And, there is a lot of trust in the couple. So in this case, this is possible to skip it because there is an understanding of that step intuitively without, naming it.
Question is, how do you know when you've done enough of the dial changes up and down?
Same as take one, two, three, when there is a sense of reconnection, when there is a sense that there is a sense of we. So somehow when we fight, we tend to be, against each other. So when we have the sense of being on the same team, that, there is almost no problem big enough to solve together. One of the things you recommended in take one, two, three is to offer a second take versus ask for permission. So is that game also somehow a command to the other, or is it please do another take?
Yeah, we're still inviting you to step into your masculine energy, regardless of what gender you identify as. Just step into and say, like that, make it a two, make it a three, but go ahead and feel comfortable stepping into your authority and don't ask for permission.
Next question: how important is our partner's body language when we invite them into playing that game with us?
The better you are at reading body language, the better you are at connecting with anybody. Do they have the capacity, the openness? Are they really scared and shut down? Yeah, just reading their body language and noticing whether they're even available to play the game.
A question that came a number of times: processing is really important with my partner when we argue, but it somehow kills the fun, it kills the mood. And so, is the game a good way to somehow bypass processing?
When we do the drudgery of processing, we get stuck in the blame game and we stay in our heads. So, what's wonderful is if we actually practice instead of process, we get to feel into it, we get to see and feel the connection, we invite the creativity of play, and it's just so much better than processing, processing, processing. So, Valdo, could we do this game playfully?
Absolutely. I believe that the more playful, the better. And so you can create your own genres like opera style or anime style or whatever somehow tickles your fancy. If this video inspired you to create more playfulness and connection with your partner, please hit the like button below and subscribe so you can be notified when I publish new juicy content. Please share with all you think would benefit. I look forward to seeing you very soon.